Send not to know for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. Welcome to this year's Family Thanksgiving service. Give us this day. Some of you may recognize this as a line from the Lord's Prayer of the Christian tradition, give us this day our daily bread, which reminds us that we as human beings need food to eat every day to keep us active and healthy. Bread is a very common form of food across the globe, and we'll have a chance later in the service to celebrate the enormous variety of forms of bread that you've brought today to share. I'm the Reverend Ned White, the interim senior minister here at the congregation, serving with the Reverend Natalie Fenimore and with Nancy Reed McKee, who is our ministerial intern. Reverend Jennifer Brower is on sabbatical until February. I want to bring your attention to the announcements that are in the order of service and just mention a couple of them. There will be a congregational meeting at 12:45 after UU Cafe today here in this worship room. So we invite you to, if you are a member of the congregation, to be sure to plan to attend that meeting. There's a mitten tree in the lobby, gifts for children or clients of the AIDS Center of Queens County. If you can expand your gift list to include one or more of these individuals, it would be greatly appreciated. Just pick up a mitten and bring that gift back by December 10th. I have sad news today of the unexpected death of UUCSR member Phyllis Borski on Thursday. A service will be planned for Saturday, January 6th. So we hold her family in our hearts. This time we invite you to, as is our custom, greet your neighbor. Do we have the best intergenerational jazz ensemble in the world, or what? Awesome. Our words today, opening words, are from O. Eugene Pickett, a former president of the Unitarian Universalist Association. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons.
For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements.
For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom.
We give thanks this day.
We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. I now invite forward Carol and Peter Canova and their family to light our chalice this morning. Please join us in our chalice lighting words, which are in your order of service. Please stand in body or spirit. We light this chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. This is the faith of an open mind. This is the faith of the loving heart. This is the faith of the helping hands. Together we care for our earth and work for peace and friendship in our world. Please join in our opening hymn, number 68, in the gray hymnal, Come Ye Thankful People.
together in reciting our words of affirmation as in the order of service. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth, its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need. This do we affirm and covenant with each other.
Please be seated. Sometime between September 21 and November 9, 1621, the English colonists, whom we call Pilgrims, and the Wampanoag people shared a harvest celebration. Through time, stories and popular myths have evolved around this event, which has become known as the first Thanksgiving. But this is the story of what may have happened during those days, as told by Dancing Moccasins, a 14-year-old Wampanoag boy, and Resolved White, a 6-year-old English boy.
I am Dancing Moccasins. It is autumn and almost time for my family to move to our winter home. We've stored corn and beans and dried fish. My family will continue to hunt and fish during the winter to supplement what we have stored. We thank Kaitan, our creator, for the plentiful harvest and good hunting.
I am Resolved White. We have gathered our harvest. Corn hangs from the rafters and salted fish is stored in barrels. Now it is time to celebrate. We will feast and play and give thanks for the harvest.
Tomorrow, I'm going with my father and others from our village to join our Sachem Massasoit when he visits the English village.
King Massasoit is coming. I don't know whether to rejoice or fear for tomorrow, but in the morning, I see a mighty sight. Massasoit is here.
This is a great gathering. My first time in the English village. The English leader bows to our Sachem, a sign of great respect. Massasoit sends us out to hunt deer as a gift to give to the English.
That evening, there's a great dinner. I have never seen such fine food. There's venison and duck and goose and squash and corn porridge. Both our governor and the king give thanks for the food.
That night, my father and I talk about this great day. I'm so glad to be with him. My father leads the singing, and some of the men dance. They dance the warrior's dance. And I see the English boy watching us from the hill.
The boy teaches me some of his games, and I listen to the singing, and I watch them dancing. This celebration will last for several days.
I'm so excited to be away from home. I wonder what the next day will bring.
This is the most wondrous time since we arrived in this new land.
Thank you, George, and thank you to the Young People's Choir. That was spectacular. And couldn't have been a better song for the times that we find ourselves in. So thank you very, very much. We've now arrived at that part of the service where we invite you to dig deep in your pockets, to be generous. This year we have a particular good reason to be generous. The offering today is for our annual Thanksgiving contributions to the North Shore Interfaith Nutrition Network, the IN, and the AIDS Center of Queens County, doing meaningful ministries of outreach to the wider community. Please make your checks payable to UUCSR with Thanksgiving donation in the memo line. In the spirit of gratitude for our many, many blessings, we ask you to give generously today. I invite the ushers to come forward.
for this year's Unitarian Universalist Service Committee Guest at Your Table boxes is small change is big change. The idea is that while each family makes a small contribution to the box at each meal, all of these add up to money that can make big changes for families around the world. Members of the 6th grade religious education class will be handing out your guests at the table boxes to you as you leave the service today. And I've invited two very talented and very talkative UU Service Committee Guests at Your Table boxes here today to tell us a little more about who will benefit from our gifts this year. Welcome, Guests at Your Table boxes.
Hey everybody, I'm here today with my buddy, Small Change Charlie.
Hey, hi.
We want to tell you about this year's Guest at Your Table boxes.
Yeah. Feed me. I'm hungry.
Can you tell me why you want people to feed you, Charlie?
Because I'm hungry.
What about giving money to Ursula Rakova? She lives on an island in the South Pacific where the families are being destroyed and forced to leave because climate change is destroying their homes. We can donate money to her organization, Tula Pesa, helping her people migrate with dignity and resettle on another island, but still preserve their cultural traditions.
Yeah. Hey, feed me. I'll give some money to her.
And do you know about Rosemary Dodd? In partnership with the Refugee and Immigrant Center for Education and Legal Services, she worked in family detention centers in Texas to help women pass their interviews with immigration officials. They could tell their stories of the violence they fled, so 90% of them were released from detention. Before, only 30% of these families were being released, Charlie.
Hey, that's good. I'll give some money to her too.
And let's not forget Ang Kwai Mo, who is from northern Burma, also known as Myanmar. He created the Center for Social Integrity that is working with youth who are barred from getting higher education because of their religion. He has created a leadership development program so that youth can become change agents in their own communities.
Hey, that's good. He should get some of the money too.
And have you heard about Ali Dawandu from Nigeria? He created an underground support network for the LGBTQI community, which was illegal. He was attacked and his partner was murdered. He came to this country seeking asylum, and he was put in detention on Rikers Island here in New York City. The Queer Detainee Empowerment Project helped him by visiting him at Rikers, helping him get out of detention, then getting him settled in a place where he could live safely as a gay man in the United States.
Hey, that's really important. We'll give him money too. Feed me.
So tell me again, Charlie, why should we ask people to feed these boxes?
Not only because I'm hungry, but because of Ursula and Rosemary and Anquo Mo and Ali. They're doing good things to help their communities with the UU Service Committee. So feed me, be generous.
Say thank you to the people, Charlie.
Thank you to the people, Charlie.
Bread is the staff of life. Bread represents the diversity of the human family. There are so many forms of bread, as many as there are cultures: Jewish challah bread, Irish soda bread, Middle Eastern pita bread, Native American cornbread. Commonplace and exotic breads that we will share with one another today. Bread is a sign of human community. Baking bread together and sharing it with one another is an act of generosity and of friendship. It's embedded in the word companion, the roots of which mean to share bread with. We have a very big table this morning because we want to share bread with everyone in this room. Bread invites us to be grateful for all the gifts of life. Each time we eat, we give thanks to those who plow the fields, sow the seeds, cultivate and harvest, combine the ingredients, bake and serve us our daily bread and all the food that sustains our lives. Bread reminds us to honor the earth and every member of the human family. We can never be fully satisfied as long as anyone goes hungry, and we will never be fully human until our table is big enough to include everyone.
Please join us in the responsive reading in your order of service. The breaking of bread is a mark of our community, sign of our sharing, a model to redeem the world.
Nations go to war for hoarding of bread. Persons are jailed for need of bread. People die for want of bread.
Bread's other name is freedom. Bread's other name is justice. Bread's other name is compassion.
We have bread in memory of all who have died that others may live. We share bread as a visible sign beyond the spoken word. We share bread as an act with power.
Power to feed, power to touch hearts, power to transform the empty into the filled.
All are welcome at our table without regard to class or creed, belief or unbelief, for the community we share is greater than these.
Our bread ceremony this morning demonstrates for us the size of our own table. It offers us a sampling of the many traditions that make up the fabric of our Unitarian Universalist faith and community. I invite those who have brought bread to share to form a line up the ramp to my left. Bring the line right over to where Natalie is standing. And you can tell us what you have brought, then place it on the table and return to your seats. During the final hymn, members of the 6th grade class will take these bread offerings into the social hall to slice and prepare for all of us to enjoy at UU Cafe after the postlude. Other members of the class will give each family a guest at your table box as you leave. So we're going to begin, and you can come up the ramp, that's good. So not everybody is comfortable coming up the stairs, so that would be helpful. I'm going to lead off with white bread. And one of the things about being on a low-fiber diet after being in the hospital is that you discover the joys of things that you used to scoff at. And I'm discovering the joys of white bread.
This is Hala, because my dad is Jewish, and I come here because my mom's Unitarian. And I'm half, both.
We have 2 other loaves that have been being put on the table without introduction, but they're valued nonetheless.
Swedish cardamom bread.
What was that again? Say it again.
Swedish cardamom bread. This is challah bread. And I wanted to bring Irish soda bread because my dad is Irish, but there was none left.
Big run on Irish soda bread today.
This bread is injera from Ethiopia, and this bread is from Ethiopia. It's called injera, and it has some spicy sauce called nazarwa.
Thank you. Ethiopia.
Good morning. This is Jake, and recently we did the 23andMe genetic testing because Jake is adopted and discovered that Jake is of British ancestry. So we brought scones to celebrate all of Jake's Britishness.
And my ancestor is Benjamin Franklin.
And
I brought Italian meat bread. It was my mom's favorite.
Well, my family is half Irish, and I had the same problem as that little girl trying to find Irish soda bread. And the other half of my family is German, and our favorite German butcher just closed in our neighborhood. I used to go up there every holiday and Christmas time, and I would get all of my stuff. So I had to come up with something. Everybody in my family loves Italian food, so why not Italian bread?
When all those fancy breads are not available, I settle for this. Don't forget to make mine very dark, just before the smoke alarm goes off.
She's trying to take it back. We're not going to let her.
Good morning. I'm a second-generation Italian American and a current Italian citizen. So for my Italian ancestry, Italian bread.
Good morning. In honor of the season, I brought pumpkin bread.
In honor of our ancestors who settled New Paltz, we brought pumpkin bread too.
Good morning, this is Chase, and Chase has brought a loaf of Italian bread.
Hello, my name is Fiona Linkstad Hughes. This is Karin Linkstad, and this is Keith Hughes, my cousin. We brought cinnamon raisin bread because it's really good. And we got this particular brand because we like to be very healthy in the Linkstad Hughes family. So it's no high fructose corn syrup, no artificial preservatives, wheat, cinnamon raisin breakfast bread.
And to fancy it up, I saw Atlanta Lakes had a limited batch of pumpkin pie spice butter, which can be used for any of the breads. So enjoy.
How you doing? I'll be honest, I brought this Italian bread from the bakery because I was running late, and they kind of have these out for you to purchase and you just leave the money. I was afraid of being late to the church since my aunt told me to make sure I was on time today.
He was on time.
Yeah.
Good morning. My bread is pumpkin bread and has a little history to it. Back in 2001, the 5th grade class needed a fundraiser to go on their school trip in Seacliff. So I came up with this idea of all the kids would bake pumpkin breads. And they did, and it was great, but it was the time of 9/11, and so when it came to go on their class trip to a Broadway show, they couldn't because it was a high red alert and they couldn't go. But fortunately, the people that were performing that day still got the benefit of, you know, the ticket sales, so that was a good thing. Then in 2010, I started doing a fundraiser for the North Shore Inn, the Soup Kitchen in Glen Cove, where we were baking pumpkin breads and selling them at the Mini Mart. And so it's like such a family tradition now that today the offering was going to the North Shore Inn as well. So it's like full circle. So here's to pumpkin bread. Thank you.
This is Lily, and she brought some ciabatta bread.
Hi, my name is Max, and I brought Hawaiian rolls because it's our favorite bread.
Do you want to say
My name is Cole.
Okay.
My name is Cole. We brought sweet Hawaiian rolls.
Good job.
Eva and I want to offer this Jewish challah, S.
Good morning. As an Italian American, Italian bread has always brought me comfort and joy throughout my life, so I share it with you.
Hi, this is Lauren and Emily. We brought Pillsbury crescent rolls because it's been a tradition in our family for every holiday to have these and to burn the bottoms of them. These are not burned. Yeah.
Bread is very important to me, and ever so often I would look out for a new one. But this is a surprise in many ways. Dave's Killer Bread, what a name. And I cannot say it any better than when I looked at the jacket of the story. 15 years in prison, that's a tough way to find yourself. Dave Dahl realized he was on the wrong game and knew he had more to offer. His brother Glenn saw a chance in him and gave Dave a second chance by welcoming him to their family bakery. Dave set out to make a loaf like no other, the most nutritious, organic, whole grain bread, and the result is what is called killer bread. Dave's killer bread is built on the belief that everyone is capable of greatness. What began as one man's journey has turned into much more. Today, 1/3 of our employees at our Oregon bakery has a criminal background, and we have witnessed firsthand how stable employment sparks personal transformation. Dave's Killer Bread.
In the presence of all of the bread, the stories of love and companionship and history that they represent, I invite you to join me in the unison prayer which is printed in your order of service. Blessed are you, creative source of life, who brings forth bread from the earth. We give thanks for these loaves. We give thanks for all that we have in common with one another and with people all over the world. We give thanks for the events, people, and places and circumstances of our lives that feed us, sustain us, and nourish us in so many ways. May the tables around which we gather always be places of welcome, gratitude, and hospitality. Amen. Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 67, in the great hymnal we sing now together. Will our 6th grade class please come forward to process out the bread?
For the sun and the dawn which we did not create, for the moon and the evening which we did not make, for food which we plant but cannot grow, for friends and loved ones who have not earned and cannot buy, for this gathered company which welcomes us as we are, from wherever we have come, for all our free congregations that keep us human and encourage us in our quest for beauty, truth, and love, for all things that come to us as gifts of being from sources beyond ourselves, gifts of life and love and friendship, we lift up our hearts in thanks this day. Please be seated.